Good afternoon and welcome to the Animest talks of this cloudy afternoon on Friday. Luckily it's not Friday 13, it's Friday 15. So this year the festivals had a special country guest. It's about Slovakia. And I'm happy that we had a quite big selection of films from Slovakia. And we already had two screenings, 3 screenings actually, 2 blocks of shorts and one feature film from 73 that you saw it 2 days ago. On DCP it was a copy digitalized from 45 millimeters from the Slovak archive in Bratislava. And now our guest studio of this year's edition, it's of course from Slovakia. And it's a studio based in Bratislava. And I'm happy and to welcome here the 𝗙𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 the Full Moon Studio because that's the name of the studio in Bratislava. So Esther, welcome. And
hi, I want to thank you for your invitation. We are very glad that we could come to see Animest. I'm from the Full Moon Studio in Bratislava. I work as a production assistant, and currently I'm working on preparing the English version of our TV series. So hopefully that will be available at some point soon. So now let me tell you something about the Full Moon Studio. Full Moon Studio was founded in 2009 by my mother, 𝗙𝗂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. She apologizes, but she couldn't come because she's too busy, but she successfully cloned herself, and hopefully I'm a good clone and will present correctly. So she founded Full Moon Studio because there was not enough producers who would focus on animation, especially animation for adults at the time, in Slovakia.
It's pretty much the same thing here in Romania.
I'm pretty sure it's the same problem in the other post-communist countries. So she produced her first film under the Full Moon Studio, The Stones, which were a puppet musical short. Here you can see some pictures from that. And then she continued with producing short films for others. So she produced her friend's film by Ivana Šebestová called Yellow. It's also a short animated. But then she liked making films for the festivals, but she wanted to have a bigger reach with her company. So she started to think about children's animation because she could influence the new generation through the film and it could have a bigger impact. So here come Mimi and Lisa, the first animated TV series from Slovakia after a long time. I think this, once again, is a similar problem in many post-communist countries, that there wasn't an animation industry as such. And in Slovakia, we had a great history of animation studios and the bedtime stories for children. However, after the Velvet Revolution, there were none produced. And Mimi and Lisa were actually the revival, and we are very proud to continue this heritage. So Mimi and Lisa were animated series for children with educational and adventurous elements. It's stories about two friends, and we wanted the children to see the world differently. And as you can see and hear later, one of our characters, Mimi, is blind, and we wanted to instill the ethical values in children and talk about that that disability is not actually disability, and you can have a fruitful life anyway. So more about Mimi and Lisa, how we developed it. It was 13 episodes and each was 7 minutes long. It's 2D cutout animation. And we want to thank Radio and Television Slovakia for their support, because without them it wouldn't be possible. So here I'll tell you more about our characters. This is Mimi. She's responsible, very orderly and careful, and perceives the world by touch and hearing. She is blind, but this is not shown as disability, and we want to show that everyone is the same and we have the same chance to have fun and play. And often it comes out as advantage, because Mimi and her friend Lisa go for an adventure, and quite often Mimi needs to save them by using her senses. Because Lisa is very playful and adorably disorderly. She likes adventures and she's full of imagination, which often gets them in trouble. So in each episode, these two girls go on an adventure and they meet one of their neighbors in their block of flats. And it's the combination of the two characters which add on to each other, and they can survive and have adventures, and each has a moral story and kind of happy ending. So after the success of Mimi and Lisa TV series, we also made the Christmas special, because Mimi and Lisa were very favored with children and probably adults alike. But we were already moved on to produce Websters, which I'll tell you all about later, and we didn't have enough time and resources to make 2 TV series simultaneously, which is maybe a problem with more small-scale animation studios. So we decided to go with a Christmas special about Christmas lights mystery, where Mimi and Lisa go on together on one big Christmas adventure together with all of their neighbors. And currently we are preparing the new TV special about the garden. This has an environmental theme, which is very popular, and it should be finished in 2022. And here it's about minimalism, and that sometimes it's better to have less things and not to throw things away and not to hoard things too. And about the importance how things could be reused instead maybe of recycled. We don't want to say that recycling is bad, but we are highlighting the reusability. Here you can see our antagonist, the monster made from things that were thrown away and not needed.
But I have one small question here. Of course, it's a TV series made for TV, but did you do like screenings in the cinema for children?
I'll tell you more about that later.
Okay. Good.
So here, actually, Mimi and Lisa sold internationally, not to Romania yet, but
yeah, because
a challenge.
I can tell you something, because in Romania there are no TV series at all, no projects for TV series, because the television are not interested in original content, unfortunately.
So unfortunate on that. We hope that will improve.
I hope so.
So it's been distributed through TV, but also through cinemas. We screened 2 45-minute screening blocks, or for example in French cinemas with our distributor, and it got, I believe, around 140,000 viewers combined, the 2 screening blocks. So the Christmas special was also screened in cinemas and was bought in many TVs. And it won the award for the Best National Film Award for the Slovak animated film in 2018. And since Mimi and Lisa were popular on screen, we decided to venture out to have more Mimi and Lisa products so the children can interact with them in more ways. It follows the same theme as the TV series, and the visuals are the same because we had a lot of surplus material from the production. So Mimi and Lisa have currently 3 books published, and the 4th one should be hitting the Slovak shelf anytime soon, I think next week. That's the one about the garden. And they also have an activity and coloring book, and they have the DVDs as well. we are also working on the game with the very young game developing studio. In this game, the player, mainly children, can experience how it is to be blind and see the world through Mimi's eyes and her senses. And there's a lot of playful activities which will hopefully teach the kids compassion and tolerance. We also worked with the Institute for Blind People, and we developed the book with Braille writing inside, so the blind people can read it too. So the game is supposed to be released in spring 2022. And here you can see the theme for Mimi and Lisa. And we want to thank our partners, without whom it wouldn't be possible. So thanks for the Slovak Audiovisual Fund and Television Slovakia for the funding. We want to thank our co-producer, Maur Film, and Martin Vandas, who is currently here. You can talk to him during the festival. And Czech Film Fund, and the studio 𝗙𝗏 and Slovart for publishing the books. And now you might be wondering why I've been talking about Mimi and Lisa when you clicked on wanted to see the presentation about the Websters. But the truth is that Websters is much a bigger undertaking and a bigger project, and we would never have the capacity, the people capacity, the financial capacity without the success of Mimi and Lisa to move on to a bigger project with more characters, with more likes in 3D, which is more complicated animation and requiring more resources, and it has more episodes as well. So maybe you can ask something about Mimi and Lisa.
No, the only thing is, do you work as do you have a place where to get together all the animators, or you are going to the third part as it's already established, like a studio and...
All animation is done in-house. We have a production studio in Bratislava, which we have 3 rooms. One is focusing on animation and another one is focusing on production. Now they moved to Websters primarily, but we also have some external workers for like sound and some of the designs and stuff like that.
And about Mimi and Lisa, also another question, if you are planning to do some more special, like, I don't know, Easter special?
Yes, I don't think so, because we moved on from that project. However, we really liked it, but it's very distracting to focus on 2 kind of concepts at the same time, since both Websters and Mimi and Lisa have different types of animation used, and you need different people. And so
let's move to Websters.
So these are the Websters. Websters came up as an idea when my mom was doing the cleaning. And as you many may know, the spiders are quite pesky and they leave their nets all over your house. And however we wage a never-ending battle to eradicate them, they are still there and reminding us with their presence. So we started to think about spiders as a human family, that they must have their own networks, their webs, and they live alongside us, and they must be just like us. So that's how the story was created. And once again, it highlights the family values and what we think is important. So we want to show children acceptance and responsibility. So the co-producers are Full Moon, which is the main producer, but we are once again supported by Radio and Television Slovakia. And the first 13 episodes were in cooperation with Studio Miniatur Filmovi from Poland. And the 6 episodes, which will come out soon, was co-produced with 13K, a Czech production company. And we also have the support of Czech television, and we work together with VFX on the animation as well. So each episode is 12 minutes long, and we are targeting the audience of from 5 to 8 years old. So we are, as I mentioned, we made 13 episodes with Studio Miniatur Filmovi in 2019, and we are going to publish the next 6 episodes in December 2021. That's why Katarina is unfortunately not here, because everyone is working on finishing these episodes. And we are also working on a feature format, but I'll tell you more about that later. So the spider family resembles the human family. They have the same issues as humans. They have their own webs, and we see them as very normal family in many ways. So here you can see more about the characters. So this is the main character, Lily. She's very curious, and she's 6 years old or 6 seasons old, and she just started her school, and she has a big heart, which sometimes ends up being the pitfall of her existence. And she's maybe too curious and has unrealistic expectations, and she needs to learn how to curb her expectations. And often she gets into trouble. And she's quite often has to be saved by one of the family members, or all of the family members. And most often, her brother Hugo comes to help. He's a typical spider teenager. He's 13. He will do everything better than his parents. And although his rough exterior, he's very kind and loving and loves his family. This is the mother Webster. She loves yoga and she's into crystals. And she's interested in the healthy lifestyle. And she's a stay-at-home mom, and her job is to keep everyone happy and safe. So she's the neck of the family. And this is the father of the family, Walter. He has a boring job in a fly can distribution center, but he has a huge imagination and he's a bit child at heart. And he's very rational on the exterior, but sometimes he gets himself in trouble and starts an adventure because he lets his fantasy go. And these are the grandparents. This is Matilda. She is one of our most loved characters with the audiences. She's the grandmother. She's very forgetful, but very nosy. And in some aspects, she reminds me of my grandmother. She's quite deaf, so she can't hear the gossip properly, but she's interested in everything. And this is her husband, Grandpa Raphael Webster. He's the survivor of the big vacuum cleaning, which is our parallel to the Second World War. And he's a big inventor. He likes to play with human trinkets and invent new machines, and maybe always the family does not find it as necessary, what he does, but it's his passion. So this is the cobweb. Cobweb is the connection between the human world and the spider world. We wanted to highlight the interconnectedness of different aspects, and it's something which connects the spiders to humans, which later on in the series becomes crucial. So now I'll tell you shortly something more about the episodes. So the first pilot episode was where Lily needed her own room, because spiders are not proper adult spiders or teenage spiders, for that matter, without having their own room, but they need to knit their own room with their own fiber. And since Lily didn't have her own room, because she couldn't produce her own fiber yet, she had to sleep in someone else's bed from the family, and it produced some tension, to say at least. So in this episode, she becomes a true spider and makes her own room. So in this episode, it's once again the minimalist theme, where Lily and Grandma go shopping, and they realize that maybe not all the stuff is really necessary for happiness. In this episode, the Mama Webster is overworked and has a neck ache. So she needs to go for a relaxing weekend in our bathtub. And however, what happens at home, you will have to watch the screening tomorrow to find out. And the big tidy up is once again highlighting the parallel with the Second World War and the big cleaning, where Grandpa Webster was hurt, and Lily and Hugo go on an adventure to save the grandparents, but maybe they didn't need really saving. And it's a big mission into the spider history. And now the upcoming episodes, which you are one of the first people to hear about, but I'll just run through them quickly, not to give you much spoilers. So this is the picnic where it's the first episode where Websters meet humans and interact together. Then there's episode about the hard work, where Lily realizes that adult responsibilities are very hard, and it's a hard work to be an adult, and all the competence given with it. on the episode The Mothing, Lily goes mothing. It's just like fishing, but for moths. But instead of catching any moths, which are like spider snacks, Lily makes friends with them and thinks they are very cute. But we know we shouldn't play with our food, right? And more about the spider world. This is the lift machine room. You can see here the model, how it looks in the studio. We actually have a model in it, in like real life. And this is the screen model as well. The spiders live in the lift machine room. And here is how we developed our cocoons. So we took some inspiration from nature, but also from design and lampshades and a lot of random stuff. And this is how the cocoons look in the concept art. This is the grandparents' room. So from this, we went to this. And then you can see how the whole Webster household looks like, how the cocoons interact together. In case you just see.
Steampunk style.
This is the concept art for it. Really? So you can see if you have any cobwebs at home, if they look similar. By the way, we still hoover our spiders. And this is how we incorporate real backgrounds with the 3D animation. So this is the real stairs, which were used. This is how we combined the real background and the 3D visual. So you can see the difference. And this is how the spiders had fun on the stairs with the cabriolet in one of our episodes. So this is the finished product, more or less. And this is more about our character development. This is the concept art for Lily. This is the 2D version. We later developed her into this. This is how she looks in the series. And this is Hugo, what inspiration we took for him and how he looks in the final render. And this is more of the Webster world with the distribution center for the fly cans. It's in the basement of this old building. And this is where the Daddy Webster works. This is the school. This is an older desk we bought secondhand, and it lives in the Full Moon animation studio, but it's not actually this side usually. But it doesn't have any cobwebs. And each drawer has its own classroom where the children go to school. So this is the classroom, and you can see Lily's classmates and the teacher as well. And here you can see more of the side characters. And these are the props. Here we wanted to highlight how the Webster world interacts with the human one. So they are using a lot of human aspects and human artifacts to create their own world. So you can see a cabriolet from a sardine can, or Hugo plays the guitar. So there's the guitar from Matchsticks and the peanut shells, for example. Or in the distribution center, they are using an old smartphone as their screening device of choice. So now I can tell you maybe more about the production of Websters and how we got here. The development took 2 years, and it took 4 applications to the Slovak Audiovisual Fund and 2 applications for Creative Europe. We were not successful in the first case because we applied with the design of the plushy spiders you can see. And then we got feedback that the design is maybe too scary and not really friendly for the children. So we moved towards the more blue spider later. I just want to say, if any producers or directors are starting and listening, not to give up and to try and listen to feedback, and you will succeed. And also we want to thank again to our long-standing sponsor, Radio and Television Slovakia, and co-producer who stood beside us during this. And then the production took a lot more applications to a lot more different film funds. You might be wondering why we needed 14 applications for Slovak Audiovisual Fund to make 19 short episodes, but the Slovak film industry is very small. And the Film Fund doesn't have enough resources to award us a lump sum. So what we need to do, unfortunately, is to apply to Olmo for each episode separately to get somewhere and to have some resources left for other animations as well. And the first 13 episodes were supported by Polish Film Institute, and then we got also later on in the project were supported by the Czech Film Fund.
Also because you have a Polish co-producer.
Yes, the first 13 episodes had a Polish co-producer, Studio Miniatur Filmowych, but there were some, I don't know how to say it, but the company dissolved or merged with another one.
Yeah.
So we moved to Czech co-producer 13K. I have them in presentation as well. And we also are still supported by Radio and Television Slovakia. So Spiders made it also abroad, and you can see them on some festivals. And here we have more about the co-producers. So it's the co-production of Full Moon, 13K, PFX, Radio and Television Slovakia, and Czech Television. And it's the feature film. I promised I'll tell you about later. So it's an episodic feature film format. So we are using the animation from the 6 episodes we are publishing in December, but we are merging it together with like an overarching theme of really making friends with the human. And we are hoping to have it done by spring 2022.
Oh, already?
Already, it's quite ambitious, but we already did the filming of live action scenes. So hopefully all the animations should be done in December, so we can hopefully see it in cinemas in spring 2022. And we are also having the next feature film in development, but that's a secret. So here you can see how we are interacting the human and the spider. Once again, there's a similar theme to Mimi and Lisa, that no matter your size, you can make friends, and no matter the differences, you can play together. So you can see how little Lily interacts with a bigger little girl, a human girl. You can see that they are quite similar, but not in size here. So they go for adventures together and play together. So more about our co-producers from Czech Republic. We are working with 13K, which is led by Anna Vášová and Karolina Davidová. Anna Vášová is a very experienced script doctor. And we are also working with PFX, which they do some of our animations there. So the next plan for the Spiders is to have more episodes published by November 2024, and to publish another feature format in spring 2025. So that's quite a long-term plan. So after the success of Mimi and Lisa books, which became bestsellers, we published 3 books with Websters, again with Slovart, and 2 audiobooks, which were quite successful as well. And Websters also have their own merch, which is in cooperation with Radio and Television Slovakia and their sister company Media. You can see some stuff that we have bean bags and water bottles and a lot of child-friendly things. And this is some of the Websters team. This is by no means everyone who works on the project. There's much more, but the slides are limited. And we want to thank all of our stable partners who supported this project. So we want to thank our co-producers, 13K, PFX, Studio Miniatur Filmowych, Czech Television, Radio and Television Slovakia, Slovak Audiovisual Fund, Czech Film Fund, Polish Film Institute, and mostly Creative Europe Media, and Magic Box, who are our Slovak distributors, and Slovart for the books. So after the Websters, in terms of scaling our projects, we started a new project recently. This time we have bigger animals, we have bigger budget and more episodes. At least these animals don't have that many legs to animate, so that's helpful. The story behind this is that during COVID, we realized that many parents were homeschooling, that it's quite hard to teach children, and we wanted to bring the curriculum to children in a playful form. So we are developing a TV series of 135 5-minute episodes, which is quite a big scale, which covers the three main curriculum subjects, the math, literacy, and science for the children. And we want to make it very educational, but not only cover the curriculum of like reading, but also to show them to some values. And each of the characters represents a psychological type of a child, and we want to see that we want to show that everyone is different and we should accept each other, and that each personality type has its advantages and maybe some disadvantages as well. But it's very playful. These are our classmates. They go to school together. And since this is quite a big undertaking, we enlisted help of our friends and partners. So we are working with the National Institute for Education, which we are very helpful for their expert feedback and support and guidance on the educational aspect, as that is something we didn't quite have a experience with yet.
And this is actually the Ministry of Education, yeah?
I think it's an entity which is legally separate, but it's under
the umbrella of the Ministry of Education.
And once again, we have the support of Radio and Television Slovakia, which are our biggest cheerleaders. And we also enlisted the help of another production company, Superfilm, just because of the sheer number of animation we need to complete. So Superfilm has also experience in children animation, and even though they are a production company who don't focus solely on animation, coincidentally, I work for them too. And this is their animation project, for children TV series, Kaboom, where Katie Strofe ends up in catastrophe in every episode. So it teaches children, for the audience is a bit older than for the Websters, it teaches children about different natural disasters. And they have quite a lot of experience with producing educational content for children. And they also have, these are the episodes, and they have the Christmas special and books as well. And we want to thank you for attention. I want to thank for an invitation. Once again, Katharina apologizes, she couldn't make it, but all the animators are working hard to bring you the new episodes. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
Yeah, so I just want to say that it's a great example of what you can do with animation and not get stuck to short films or to move only to the festival circuit and that's it. So it's congratulations for your work. So there are not only films, there are also like books,
yes,
apps, websites, interactive websites, and that's great. That's fantastic actually for the children. Just to get back a bit to the Websters,
yeah,
about the characters. The characters are inspired by the true persons.
Maybe. Yes. There are certain parallels, even though maybe Lily is a bit of my sister and my mom wants to keep the family together and likes yoga as well. And the grandparents are quite similar. It was quite a case during Christmas when the TV series were broadcasted and my grandma found herself in the character.
Oh, really? She recognized her by herself?
She really likes sweets, especially the caramel flies in the series. So we have also an episode about how grandma goes on the internet. So that's also quite similar to real life. Also the grandpa being an inventor and making maybe some unnecessary projects. It's also very familiar. So yes, you can definitely see where the inspiration comes from.
Nice. And also related with the Websters about the technique. Because Mimi and Lisa was in cutout animation.
Yeah.
And you...
It was computer 2D animation.
Yeah, 2D. And you pass to the 3D, and which is more expensive.
Yes.
And also, there are not so many good animators in 3D. How come you didn't, you turn it to the CG?
I think we had to raise our own generation of the 3D animators. It's the same as we started the project of Mimi and Lisa without being the first TV series in, I think, 30 years or something like that in Slovakia for children. So this was another challenge to take on.
But it was also, the guys from the television told you, we want to do...
I think it was partly by the international sales, because the feedback we got is that mostly that Mimi and Lisa have too little episodes for them to be able to sell successfully to many countries. And I think another feedback was that the Websters should be more 3D, because it's something which children like more. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good that you could change the production, the entire process of production, because it's another workflow, another pipelines.
That's why it's quite complicated to combine the Mimi and Lisa and the Websters.
Yeah. Good. And then you came back to the 2D for the last project.
Yes, but it's in the development, so we are still, these are just the first ideas which came back, I think, 2 weeks ago or something like that. So these are just the first sketches, and it's in development. So this is not the final version.
So
how they will
it
look.
might be 3D again.
I don't think so, because we need a lot more episodes.
Yeah. Good. And one, let's say, final question from my part, but Alex, let us know if we will have like on the Facebook about the short films, if there are in plans any production of shorts in the near future.
We don't have anything in development, but we are open to productions.
That's important.
Yes.
So you didn't turn the page to the only to TV series.
The two directors who directed with Full Moon, so my mother, the producer, and the director Katarina and Ivana are currently too involved in the TV series, but we were thinking about some co-productions, but nothing official.
Good. So Esther, thank you very much.
Thank you for invitation.
Really, I hope that, I don't know if the Romanian television was watching the stream, but it will stay there, and I hope that really they can open this door to the TV series, because as I told you in the beginning, actually there are no projects, because none of the television here local, they are not interested in original content, and they prefer to buy, you know, like packages of, I don't know.
I understand that just on the basis of market economics, the films and the art industry, and especially the animation for children, is not economically viable, and we have to depend on the state support we are very grateful for. So I think
but it's normal.
It's the moral duty of the
I
institutions.
think also you cannot compare it with the very commercial cartoons, or this is pure education, and the last one, it's really smart to do it with another way, and to collaborate with the Ministry of Education. And
also, we are hoping that this will help to support the economy and provide jobs for the animation sector for the following many years.
Good.
So
congratulations one more time for all your work, all your job. And tomorrow,
come and see it in cinema. You
10.
can ask me questions there too.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And now I will also want to show you a bit of...
Żyjemy wolni tym padom, zastawać, zastawać, zastawać do plati.